Hey everyone. So I'm gonna ramble a bit in this video. This is already a couple takes in. I have not written down. I haven't like organized my thoughts at all or anything like that. So I'm just gonna keep shooting straight from the hip here. Keep recording this thing until eventually I get a good take. So for those that follow along with this channel, especially in the beginning, for like the first 6 months, 7 months, for those of you that saw at least maybe some of my videos in passing. You probably know what I'm talking about here. For everyone else, I'll give a brief summary. So, back in January, I had a tentative opportunity to have my book, Tarot, published. It was the first one. It was not the one that you're seeing right now in the sort of, in the recent videos here. It was an earlier novel. I had done it for my MFA. I completed it, and basically I eventually found a publisher for it. It was kind of like a very miracle sort of thing. And so for those that follow along, I basically ended up taking a 5-6 month sabbatical at the start of the year, basically from I think the end of January to basically the start of July. So I think what is that, like 6 months, 5 months, something like that. And so during that time, my endeavor was to revise the novel. Basically, the publisher was potentially interested in the novel, but they wanted to see a revision done. They wanted to see it rewritten. They wanted to see some things changed and all that stuff. And so I spent the spring and summer doing that, and resubmitted it back in June. And so this morning, I got an email. I think it was like 7 a.m. saying, hey, thanks so much for sending it to us, but at this time, we're going to pass on it. Yeah. So this is the nature of the industry. This is the nature of publishing. There are no promises. There are never any guarantees in this industry. I was never promised anything or guaranteed anything in any kind of, or led to believe in any sort of way that that I had this thing in the bag at all. Throughout this process, it's all, hey, here's an opportunity. We're very interested in you. It's still an opportunity, but we may end up passing. We're very interested in you. There's different levels or degrees of general interest that you tend to get from publishers and from agents as well. If you're in the agent stage of the process, where they'll say, potentially interested in this, or hey, I like your stuff, but you need to make some changes here and there. And what happens in that process, I think, especially for myself, is you see this opportunity and you've been waiting, in my case, I've been waiting 8 years, since the day I decided to really take this seriously, to be an actual, published author one day. You spend years doing that, and so you get that first, that glimpse, right? You get that first, what you think is maybe going to be your break, and so you put everything into it, you put your heart and soul into it, and then, unfortunately, these things happen. You put everything into it, it's sort of dangled in front of you, and yeah, just falls. But in a single email, everything falls, right? Not saying I agree with it, not saying I enjoy it, but it's the nature of the business, and you're not going to change it. Complaining is not going to change it. Yeah. So it hurt to hear that, obviously. I spent all day kind of festering on it, thinking, going for the range of emotions that I went through. I don't think I paid attention to a single thing that I did today. I think my mind was completely focused on the rejection. So it is what it is. But at this time, yep, it's not getting published. The novel Tarot is not getting published. Yeah. It's hard. It's difficult to put a lot of time to something. It's difficult to get that break. I don't think most people, if I can be honest here, most people in life, most people in society they operate on a level where they don't have a certain passion about something. They don't really deep down have a passion, not something that they're willing to basically, bleed for, metaphorically, right? Or physically, in some sense, right? There's not that thing they wake up for, they try to crush every day. They don't, I'm sorry. And it's not a judgment on society at all, but it's a straight just point of fact. So it's difficult to convey that you spend years and years trying to do something and you get that moment and it's taken away from you. It's a heartbreak. It's a heartache that I felt today. I felt before, but not as strong as today. And it hurts. It deep down hurts. It is a pain that it's difficult. Again, it's worse than any breakup I think you'll ever feel in life. I think it's worse than a lot of losses that you can get in life. Not obviously people, not death. That's a completely separate thing. That obviously is tragic. But a lot of the small things that you can lose in life, that you can fail at, it does not compare when you have that thing that you absolutely love, the thing that you want to do for like the rest of your life, and you get that moment and you're like, oh, this is gonna be it, and you put everything into making that happen and it doesn't happen. That hurts. Yeah. And so in looking at that, I had to ask myself today, what could I have done differently? What could I have done differently? And this entire time throughout this whole process, nothing else I could have done. There's not a single thing I could have done differently in this process. This novel that I revised for the publisher was, in my opinion, immaculate. It was awesome. It was even on my hardest critic, even like my worst internal critic, I couldn't have done. I don't think I could have done much better. That story was so strong. I mean, I thought it was good when I sent it to the publisher initially. I thought it was good. I thought it had a very serious chance of publication. When I revised and sent it off, I thought there was no way. There's no way they're not going to take it. I thought it was a guarantee in my mind. It was so strong. But it didn't happen. And so with that, I don't have any sort of regret in that sense. I have no, I don't, the fact that I'm not, I all day today, I have not asked myself, could I have done anything differently? I do this a lot. Whenever I kind of come up short, I always ask myself, all right, in your preparation, in the process leading up to this moment, could you have done anything differently? Could you have tried harder? Could you have pushed yourself a little bit more to make it happen? And I can say right now, no, I did everything as hard as I could. I went as strong as I could. I don't know what else I could have done. And so the rejection comes as just a change, perhaps in the publisher. Perhaps they are there's some behind the scene things where they're swamped right now with current people and they couldn't take it on. It could be just simply the taste of what they're looking for, 6 months, a year ago versus now. Plenty of reasons. I'll never know. Quite frankly, I'll never know. So with that, no regrets in that sense. But I did want to share this. I did want to let everyone know, just because I've brought up on this vlog before, and so people weren't left in limbo wondering, hey, like at some point they aren't asking, hey, what happened to that book you're working on? So that's what happened. It was rejected. As far as where things go from here, so with that novel, I'm trunking it. So I'm trunking that novel. The tarot novel gets trunked. It goes away. At some point I might bring it out again, but at this point I have spent so many years working on it that and going through that last time, it felt like there was nothing left in that story I really wanted to explore. And so for now, I want it gone. I want it out of my life. I don't want to think about it anymore. So it's trunked for now. I can always pull it back out. I can always resend it at some point in the future. There may be options in the future to get it out there, but for now it goes away. It's getting trunked. I have no interest in self-publishing, by the way. I know people might bring that up as an option. I don't want to do that. Amongst the many reasons, amongst certainly the reasons, my biggest one is, if you self-publish it, no one's ever going to read it. That's just me kind of riffing here for a second, but I don't have the marketing skills. I don't have even if you follow this channel, right? Like, look at the subscribers, right? I don't have the social media ability to kind of get people to read this, right? If I self-publish it, maybe less than 50 people will ever pick up that book. And of the 50 people that pick it up, 10 maybe read past maybe page 100, right? yeah, so I'm not interested in doing that. For me, it was always traditional publish or basically bust. So whether it gets trunked, and potentially in the future I bring it back out. Now, as far as the rest of the future, the beyond this book, well, let's look at my next one, right? I got my next novel here. I'm the one I'm going to start querying in about month and a half, 2 months from now. I'm going to start querying it. So I've got that to look forward to. I've got that sort of battle to fight. I've got to make sure that one gets published. That's what I gotta do. I gotta do everything I can to get it right and get it published, but we'll see. There's a bit of doubt, as I kind of wrap this up basically, there's a bit of doubt though. Like, getting the rejection today has played into that. I've spoken in the past few videos, you've seen that. You've heard me talk about how I need this to get published. I need this win. I've talked about it before that I need a win. If this is to be my direction, if this is, 8 years into this thing, if I'm to continue forward with this, if I'm to make this a viable thing at some point, I need a win. I need a win. I didn't get it today. I got a big setback today in a sense. And I need a win. So I'm hoping this book gets published. I'm hoping this next one gets published. That's I need it, So I'm gonna do everything I can, again, to make sure this thing gets out, this next book gets out and gets picked up. But it's disheartening. It hurts, and there's a part of me that's got that doubt that thinks it's not happening for this book either. That doubt has already kind of creeped into my mind. It's got in my head that I can do, that a year from now, right? Like this time next year, I could make the same video here again, and I could, and it'll say, hey, this novel I spent, all this time on this vlog working on, didn't get picked up either. Didn't get picked up either, right? At the end of the day, I queried 100 agents, never get picked up, whatever. So it hurts. So it's a scary thought. For now, I'm just going to ignore it and move forward, but there's a lot of doubt at this point. If it doesn't happen for this next novel, it'll be time for a very tough conversation, I think, with myself, if that happens. So at this point, I'm going to be wrapping this video up here. But if you saw through the whole thing, thank you. Thanks for watching this. It means a lot, it does. But I'll be back with another vlog video, writing video tomorrow. But yeah, for now, this was probably the biggest setback I've faced so far in the publishing process. So, all right, signing off.